that have recently moved to Canada, and I've been following up with her experience on trying to get one of these Ontario driver's license. With COVID and everything, it's been an ordeal, obviously. It's expected to be harder at this time, but it makes me think about how many years of experience in driving she has and all the differences in regulations in driving and everything in different countries. And I take out my car on the street and all I see is bad drivers in Toronto. You think of a city where people are from everywhere in the world, and so people drive differently everywhere else in the world. Although the rules are similar or somewhat standardized, they're still not the same. So you have all these people come here, then they all go through the same drive test. They go through the same course to get their license. And strangely enough, people are still not capable of abiding by the simplest rules of driving. For example, if you're gonna make a right, obviously you have to make a right from the right lane, right? And you see people turning right from the middle lane, or you see people making a U-turn near the intersection. You see people doing all sorts of crazy things, right? And I wonder about health and safety. Right? Then imagine those people driving in the city where the speed limit is actually around 40, 50, some places, kilometers per hour. And you have these people on the highway with huge trucks going at least 100 kilometers per hour. Then they get into an accident, and obviously an accident between the truck and the car, there's no chance for that car. So that comes to my mind, health and safety, right? We are crazy about health and safety in the developed world. So here in North America, in Europe, and in Australia, New Zealand, places like that, people are crazy about health and safety. You know, you mop the floor of a hallway and you put up a sign. You have all sorts of health and safety for your babies, your toddlers, your children, and whatnot. You have all sorts of health and safety measures for construction workers and healthcare workers. But when it comes to driving, it seems like every person can get one of these. They can just go and get a driver's license. Like, there's not a lot of worry about health and safety. I think it's all put in the car, in the machine that's supposed to be safe, but not so much in the drivers. And that's where I get really annoyed with how our system is set up. Because yes, it's great that first you get the G and G1 and then the G2 and then the G, you know, there's spaces and all. In none of those steps, it is talked about. For example, most of the time when you're gonna go take your drive test for G2 or G, it's a sunny day or it's not a snow day, whatever. In the course, I remember them teaching what to do, right? When there's ice, black ice, rain, and all those conditions. But in reality, we never really try it until you get your license and all of a sudden you're in the middle of the highway and it starts snowing and you may or may not have snow tires on, and then you have to try it. And then you have to see how fast you have to go, or how much does that car handle, or what traffic's like. And obviously those are common sense things to do, but one thing is thinking about it and reading and talking about it in class, and the other thing is actually experiencing it. For example, whiteout. My first whiteout, I was freaking out because I couldn't see the next car in front of me that was like meters away from me. And so many other experiences like that. A strong storm, like a rainstorm, you can't see anything. And you get like, you know, all stressed out and confused because you're trying to, you know, figure what you have to do because you never experienced that. And in the meantime, you're driving a machine, because it is a machine, that's huge, right? Another comparison that I have is, for example, if you give somebody a lawnmower and they never used it, and you give it to them and say, okay, operate this, right? No instructions, nothing, just maybe tell them how to turn it on and that's it. People are usually uncomfortable with it if they never used it before. And that's only a machine that's barely the size of your personal space. You know, people are uncomfortable, they start using it, eventually they get the hang of it. Now, a car is a lot bigger than that. And not only that, you have to be worried about traffic and spaces
In the city, and pedestrians, and cyclists, and motorcyclists, and all that.
and traffic signs. And I'm thinking, like, people are not prepared for that. They're not enough prepared for that, especially taking into consideration health and safety that we're so worried about in every other sense of life, but with driving. It seems like health and safety is left for the car makers to worry about and not so much for the drivers themselves. So that's definitely something that I think people need to think about. People that come up with these rules of how to, how people get their licenses and what process do they have to go through, because it's something that is not there yet, okay? And that's all I have for today. See you.